It is my very distinct pleasure to welcome my friend Congressman Ted Deutch to Tripp Scott for a Tripp Scott webcast. We're thrilled to have you here. Congressman Deutch is serving his fourth term in the 114th Congress and currently represents Florida's 21st congressional district. However, because of redistricting, Congressman Deutch is now running for what is technically an open seat, which is the new District 22. So given that you are running for what is technically a new congressional seat, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and talk a little bit about District 22?
Well, thanks so much for asking. Just very briefly about me, my wife and I moved to Florida about 19 years ago and raised our 3 kids down here. I practice law down here representing entrepreneurs. And the exciting thing about this new district is it runs from Boca Raton and Highland Beach in the north all the way along the coast down to and including Fort Lauderdale and then over to Coral Springs and Margate and Coconut Creek. And the most exciting challenges for me are the fact that I will now, if all goes well, have the opportunity to represent a booming and exciting business community here in Fort Lauderdale and one of the busiest ports in the country, which is a real economic driver for our community, tourism issues, interesting environmental issues because of the coastline. So there are good challenges, and it's a really exciting opportunity for me.
So obviously, for New District 22, tourism is critical, and Zika has had a very negative effect. Can you talk about what the federal government's role might be in helping to curb this?
We have to do at the local level what our local governments are doing, the municipalities and Broward County, and all throughout South Florida, which is to ensure that they're getting out. Mosquito control is doing its job. They're taking the steps necessary to provide people with the testing that they need. We have to continue to focus on that, but at the federal level, we have to provide the necessary funding to come up with a vaccine. That's what we have to do, and Congress needs to act, and it's frustrating that we're not doing it. It's not a partisan issue. Down here in South Florida, Democrats and Republicans, everyone understands we have to take this seriously, and my hope is that we'll pass the necessary funding in Congress, be able to move forward quickly to come up with a vaccine to help keep us all safe.
So you co-founded the Climate Solutions Caucus, the first bipartisan caucus tackling climate change and sea level rise. Talk to us about why this is so important for our district.
First of all, it's really exciting that we're able to do something in a bipartisan way, which hopefully will be an example for other issues in Congress. Sea level rise obviously affects us here in South Florida directly. That's why Carlos Curbelo, who's my colleague from the Miami area, a Republican from Miami, that's why we started this caucus. We know that this isn't a political issue, that for those of us who live down here and for businesses who are based down here, this is an issue that impacts the way we live our lives. It impacts businesses and their supply routes with the increasing severity of storms. There are coastal resiliency issues that we have to address. And so it gives us an opportunity to come together and to focus not on how we got here, but on what kinds of solutions we can come up with, just as businesses are doing. And thus far, we've been able to bring in business leaders and academics to have respectful conversations, equal number of Republicans and Democrats, no name calling, just an opportunity to focus on how to move forward and to benefit, obviously to benefit South Florida and our state, but then in turn to benefit the whole country.
Depending on what news reports you watch, it's hard to tell if ISIS is strengthening or being depleted. As the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Subcommittee with extensive knowledge in this area, what can you share with us about ISIS and your knowledge?
Well, this is the great challenge that we face now. On the one hand, it's clear that we're taking back territory from ISIS. But if you look at the terrorist activity and the attacks that have taken place around the world, in Europe and here in the United States, there is a lot more that we have to do to confront them, not just on the battlefield, but we have to prevent them from being able to access and spread their hate online. We have to work hard to cut off the funding. I mean, it's a real threat, and there is so much that we have to do, and in fact, so much more even than we're doing already.
Tell me about the Democracy for All Amendment.
In 2010, when I was running for office, the Supreme Court, in a decision called Citizens United, ruled that individuals and corporations could spend unlimited amounts of money influencing the outcome of our elections. And since then, we've seen this huge increase in super PACs, and with it, the domination of our airwaves with what are often, especially as we've seen this time of year, awful campaign ads. So the Democracy for All amendment is an attempt to overturn Citizens United and to try to diminish the influence of money in politics. It's interesting, only in Washington is this a partisan issue. Out in the real world, where we are, I had a town hall meeting just last night, and the people there, whether they were Democrats or Republicans, Tea Party members, independents, everybody acknowledges that we would be better off if members of Congress, for example, and members of the Senate, could focus all of their time on doing their job without all of this outside pressure that comes from people spending unlimited sums of money and fundraising. If we can diminish the influence of money in politics, I think our elections would not just be cleaner, more people would engage, probably more people would run for office, and our democracy would just work better.
What else would you like to share with the future District 22?
I'd like to just add one of the things that I think people often either forget or don't think about when it comes to members of Congress, and that's the work that we do in our office. I am really proud that we're able every single day to provide help in our office for people who need assistance getting tax refunds, or they have veterans issues, Medicare, Social Security issues. Whatever it is, it shouldn't, as I explain to people, it shouldn't require a member of Congress to intervene to try to help make the government work better. But sometimes it helps, and sometimes that's what it takes. And so I just encourage people to always feel free to reach out to our office and to give us a chance to try to be helpful. That's why we're there.
And where is your district office now?
Right now we have offices, the district is a little further north, so we have offices in Boca Raton and Wellington, and then in Broward and Coral Springs and in Margate. We have traveling offices all throughout. After the election, when the district moves south, all goes well, we'll have an office right here in downtown Fort Lauderdale. And again, we'll continue to have traveling offices so that we can get out to people where they are to provide services to them there.
Great. Thank you so much, Congressman Deutch. It's been such a pleasure having you here.
Thanks.
We are absolutely thrilled, and please vote. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stephanie.